Best we play that today. Good morning. How is everyone doing? Hope you're well. If you can, please rise and help us sing Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. I am Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. Everywhere and always I am Spirit-Led. I am Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. Everywhere and always I am Spirit-Led. Rolling like a river of peace, I am nature's wandering child. Love cannot be added to me. I am made complete in the divine. I am Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. Everywhere and always I am Spirit-Led. I am Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. Everywhere and always I am Spirit-Led. There's magic in every day, like a beautiful song. And as we're choosing our way, there's a voice inside to guide us along. We are Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. Everywhere and always we are Spirit-Led. We are Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. Everywhere and always we are Spirit-Led. We are Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. Everywhere and always we are Spirit-Led. We are Spirit-Led, Spirit-Fed. Everywhere and always we are Spirit-Led. Everywhere and always we are Spirit-Led. Everywhere and always we are Spirit-Led.
All right. Woohoo. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Oh, and who else is here? Who's joining me here on the platform? Reverend Pat Venema. Woohoo! We haven't heard from her for a long time, so it's about time. And we want to say hello to all the people who are joining us online, on YouTube or Facebook. We feel your presence. I hope you feel ours. If you would just kind of take a moment and say hello in the chat session so we know that you're here and we can feel, more connected that way. So thank you for joining us. And thank you, everyone so we're coming in. Everybody's coming in, taking a seat. That's okay. We're good. All right, beautiful. Okay, and so as Reverend Pat lights the divine light candle, there's one right there, I invite you to join us in our opening invocation, which is on the buff sheet that's in the seat back in front of you, if you want to take that out and take a look at where that is, and then just take a moment and connect with your heart center. Really feel that peace that is welling up inside of you, that love that wants to express through and as we say this together. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God, the good omnipotence. Let's just take a moment and be with that idea. Let that really sink in. This idea that there is only one life. That life is God. That life is my life. That life is your life. That life is perfect and complete and abundant. And as we breathe into that and allow that to be our truth, it is our experience. And so it is.
I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love.
Invite everyone to maybe take anything that's on your lap and put it to the side. Lean back. Begin to relax. Begin to take some slow, deep breaths. Allowing that breath to release any tension in the muscles. Allowing that breath to release any thoughts that are mingling in your mind, any to-do list for today. We just let that go. Breathing in this present moment. Being willing to be fully present right here, right now. Just be with our breath, be with whatever's going on in our body. Be present to spirit that is here in the present moment. That presence right here, right now. we are immersed in an energy of peace, in an energy of love, in an energy of wholeness and well-being. And so we surrender to that. We allow that to have its way with us, through us, in us, as us. We allow it to grow in our heart and feel it vibrating through every cell of our being. And we'll do that in the silence together for the next couple of minutes. As we have anchored ourselves in the awareness, in the presence of pure peace, of pure spirit, we have been participating in co-creating an opening to this energy of wholeness, well-being, peace, divine light, divine guidance, infinite good for ourselves and for our world. And so I would invite you now to bring to mind someone who probably could use a little of this energy of love and peace and well-being. Just bring them to mind, hold them in your heart. You might want to say their name softly aloud into this healing vortex. And so we know that right now, that energy of healing, of light, of infinite good, of well-being, of guidance, is fully present where each of these individuals are. It is activating, coming to life. And for this and so much more, we are grateful. And so we take a nice deep breath and begin to bring our awareness back into the room, back into our physical body. When you're ready, open your eyes. Stretch a little bit. Coming fully back in. And so in this awareness, we are going to say together our vision and mission statement, which is on the front of the program or also on that sheet. You take a moment and find that. And again, taking a nice deep breath into your heart center, we say our vision. We envision light awakening in all. Our mission, we center in peace and love. We connect in our hearts with others. We celebrate our journey toward wholeness, and we empower others to experience their spiritual magnificence. And so it is. All right. So now we have a wonderful musical guest with us today, Eric Bannon.
There's a little personal language in this song that might not make sense to you. And it's not really a foreign language, it's a personal language, and it means whatever you need it to mean. Whatever your heart needs right now, whatever your spirit suggests to you that it might mean. That's what it means. Whoops, wrong key. And while I'm readjusting the key of my guitar, this song was written by myself and a guy from Asheville named Chris Rosser. There we go. It's called Sacred Spaces. Sacred spaces we are making when we gather and we sing round the campfire in a street choir. Join the circle, let it ring. Ain't that some amazing grace? Sanctuary we create. Bring your troubles, tell your story, pass that old guitar around. Raise your voices, make it joyous, listen for that holy sound. Ain't that some amazing grace? Sanctuary we create. Dr. Wayo, see you say, oh, Dr. Wayo, feel your heartbeat. There's a rhythm, there is music all around. Find another sister, brother, take a stand on holy ground. Ain't that some amazing grace? The sanctuary we create. Dr. Wayo, see you say, oh. Dr. Wayo, say. Dr. Wayo, see you say, oh. Dr. Wayo, say. Ain't that some amazing grace? This sanctuary we create.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is my mic on? No. Do you have it around your ear?
I have it right here, but I don't think this is on. Is it? There's no light on. Is there supposed to be a light on?
Yeah.
Oh, now it's green.
Uh-huh.
How's that? Better? Oh,
There we go.
I'm live now. I'm so grateful to be able to speak with you again. It's been a while, and that's because we have so many wonderful people in training for ministry that Victoria hasn't had to ask me to speak, but I'm so happy to speak. If you don't know me, I'm a longtime member of this church, and it's been almost 20 years, and some of you have watched me grow from, from what I was before I went to seminary and all through quite a journey. And so I'm just really grateful to share with you one of the things that I'm most passionate about, and that is the evolution of consciousness. I study it through the model called spiral dynamics. And by the way, I will be teaching this model in March when we do our intensive learning experience here, an online intensive learning experience where one of the courses will be spiral dynamics. So watch for that. That'll be the last week of March. So here's what there's no way I can teach spiral dynamics in 20 minutes, okay? It's a complex model that I keep learning more about, and I keep learning from other people, mostly online now, because the spiral dynamics book originally that was published, that taught it to us, is already almost 20 years old. So we keep learning and we keep growing. So it's an active online community that I'm tapped into. And what I want to share with you this morning is just some of the wisdom that I've learned from it. And so basically, think about it's a model that shows us, it's based on anthropology and sociology, not so much spiritual things. It shows us that people and communities, the collective, grows through developmental stages. And we know that as children. As we've raised children and we've watched children grow, they go through developmental stages. And that's healthy, and that's what we want to see. Spiral tells us that there's two tiers. The first tier is kind of like all of the ego development that we walk through in our childhood through adulthood. And the second stage is kind of considered the maturing of the adult. So, and often when we talk in unity terms, we downplay or diss ego because it's something that gets us into trouble, right? But we don't really want to lose ego, do we? As we grow up, we want to let go of the hold that ego has on us, so we're not only identified with ego. So in that context, I want to talk about one of the phrases that I've learned from Spiral and other evolution of consciousness people, and that is the title of this talk, Wake Up, Grow Up, Clean Up, Show Up. It rhymes, so it's easy to remember. Wake up, grow up, clean up, show up. And so I want to ask you, what do you think we're waking up from? That's the first step. Wake up. And we might say we wake up from this idea that we're separate from each other and from God. What is our very first thing that we say every morning at church? There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. And it is good. And it is omnipotent. It's omnipresent as well. And I like that. I often just substitute that instead of omnipotent, because omnipresent means so much to me. I am never separate from this goodness, this godness, and neither are you. And if that essence of God is in everything, because God is found everywhere, or God is nowhere, you choose. It's a essence, it's an energy, it's a power that is in all of creation, including you, including me, which was a huge wake up for me, who had grown up in Calvinism, which taught me that I was wretched and far, far, far from God. And so to walk into unity 25 years ago, a little less than 25 years ago, I was just like, blown away to see a whole group of people believing that God is my very essence and teaching me that and helping me to let go of the old thoughts of separation and grasp the concept of oneness. So it was the beginning of my awakening when I walked into unity. And we don't wake up overnight. So it is a beginning and it's a journey. So awakening is a journey. And as we awaken to this idea that we're not separate from God or each other, then we can learn all the implications of that. And that's the grow up part. Right? So we're not just waking up and therefore we are now enlightened. We have a journey to go through. And I'm looking at this little one here in the back, so sweet and beautiful. And I think about how if we are raising a child like this one, who is just getting to the point, he looks like he's about 12 months old. And he's probably getting to that point of starting to say no to mama. And he's going to get good at that in the next 2 years. Well, that's good because he's developing his personality. Is it a he? I'm sorry. Yes. So when we raise our children, we might not want them to be disagreeable and try to be separate from us. But we do want them to be separate from us because we don't want them to be like the infant at the breast for the rest of their lives. We want them to grow up and find themselves and be the person that they are, because that personality makes us attractive to certain kinds of people and makes us have friends and gives us skills to do a job and so forth. So all through our lives in that first tier of spiral dynamics, we're developing who we are, and we're becoming individuals, and we're learning to cooperate with society, and we're learning to find our niche. And sometimes toward the end of all of that journey into adulthood, we start to say, is that all there is? Is that all there is? Just to set a goal and achieve it? To make money and have and do and have? And that's when Spiral Dynamics teaches us that as we move into second tier and wake up, we realize that doing and having isn't all that there is. It's the being that is really rich. It's the being in our space of wholeness. But guess what? Sometimes we take scars into our adultness with us. We have traumas in our lives. We have memories that we perceive as negative. Some of my memories that I've cleaned up, they weren't negative. I just decided that they were. So I've done some of that work. Oh, that's the third step, clean up. So I grow up as an adult, and then I wake up and I grow up some more. And this growing up, when we wake up, is like, we want to get so much information. We want to learn. Like, we got books, 5 books on the desk waiting for us to read, and they're half read. You know, we might be reading from Eckhart Tolle. We might be reading from Adyashanti. We might be reading from the autobiography of a yoga. We might, all these things we're trying, let's say Wayne Dyer, Neil Donald Walsh, Charles Fillmore, Myrtle Fillmore, Emily Cady. They're all always out. I'm picking them up and learning more. And if you're not learning from those names, there's others. Okay? And everybody's saying the same thing from different angles because it's universal truth, that we're one with God, that we don't have to be an enemy to ourselves or others. We don't even have to distinguish ourselves from others, even socially and culturally. So that takes time, and that takes cleanup. So the grow up part, let me see if I made, see, I just leave my notes behind. Oh, a story. There's a story in the Bible, in John 3, that's the story of Nicodemus. And Nicodemus is a wealthy man, a Pharisee, a guy who's high up in the ranks of the temple. And he comes to Jesus at night in secret because the Pharisees weren't supposed to be enjoying Jesus' teachings. And he comes in secret and says, what can I do to experience this realm of God? And Jesus says, you have to be born again. And of course, Nicodemus takes it literally and says, how can I be born again? I'm an adult. I can't go back into my mother's womb and be born again. And of course, Jesus is talking in metaphor, and he says, you have to be born again. What is born of flesh is flesh, but what is born of spirit is spirit. He says there's a birth of the water and the birth of the spirit. And I've always wondered what that water part meant, and I always thought, as a traditional Christian, it meant that you had to be baptized. I don't think that anymore. I think, having understood things a little differently, I think that the physical birth is being born of water. Ask anyone who has had a birth experience. The first sign that you're on your way is water. Being born of water is the fleshly birth. And then you are born again into spirit. That's like waking up into the second tier of spiral dynamics. It's waking up to the idea, like I said, that it's all oneness. We grow up by learning, and we have a voracious appetite to look at the world from this new perspective in different ways, as I mentioned. And then the cleanup. You know, there's some things in our lives that we carry with us from our childhood that is trauma, and we do harbor hurts and misconceptions and unforgiveness, and the cleanup work is really important. When you're in the first tier, you don't even want to go there. You just don't want to revisit those hurts, because often you think people were against me, and that's why I got hurt. But when you're in the second tier, you let go of that people are against you, and that's a process. So how can I let go of that? We do things like Eye of the Storm by Gary and Jane Simmons, which some of us did last spring. We do things like the Byron Katie work of reframing our stories. We do things like therapy and group book studies where we can talk about our pain and tell our stories and release that pain to others, loving care. And that's part of the growing up. The cleanup part is growing up. I also think we have to realize that this seed of divinity is planted in us. So when we wake up, it's just beginning to sprout. And the grow up and the cleanup is nurturing that consciousness of empowerment, divinity. That's why we teach 12 powers, because if everybody says to you, you are the very essence of God, or the very divinity of God is within you, you might say, well, what does that look like? Who is God? What is God? And when we look at the 12 powers, we can see God is the very essence of wisdom, love, enthusiasm, strength, perseverance, order, power, mastery. I've just named about 6 of them. And these powers are the things that we can nurture consciously to be the grown-up adult in the spiritual dimension that we want. So, you know, the other thing that Jesus said is, you are the light of the world. And he meant that all of us are. And he also said, if you have a light, you're going to light it so everyone can enjoy the light. You're not going to hide it under a bushel basket, he said. And sure enough, why would I wake up, grow up, clean up, and then hide it? The last line is show up. What are we showing up as? The very divine people, essences that we are. And how can we do that? We can shift our minds by reprogramming our thoughts. And as I said, when I came to Unity, my first Unity church was the Unity in Durham. In a beautiful congregation it was. And one person told me about affirmations that I had never heard about affirmations before. I walked in completely blind to Unity. I was blown away. It was wonderful. And so somebody grabbed a scrap of paper from the back table and wrote something down for me that she thought it would fit. And she says, say this every day and tell me how it goes by next week when you come back. And by the way, the first week I was there was the beginning of successive weeks that I never missed from then on, because I wanted to learn and learn and learn. And this person gave me an affirmation that says, I am the radiant essence of God. Now, I was a miserable, depressed, and anxious Calvinist. Now, if any of you know Calvinism, you know what I mean. And it's just really a dark theology. And so you're always groveling and asking God to forgive you and save you, you know, so similar to Baptist. And when she gave me that, I read it, I am the radiant essence of God, and I thought, no, I'm not. I am not. But she said, say it. So I did that fake it until you make it kind of thing, although I didn't know that phrase at the time. I just said, okay, I'll say it. And every time I said it, the little voice in my head said, yeah, sure, or no, you're not, or that's a lie. But I said it anyway. And I said it for years. I came to this center about 4 years after I found Unity in Durham and worked some more with when Mark Malachi was the spiritual leader then, and he worked with me and others to really grow up and clean up. And one day, one of the people in this very building said to me, Pat, you are so radiant. And I remembered what I had said to myself over and over again, not thinking that I was, but I was growing into that. And now I have so much more enthusiasm than I ever imagined that I could. In fact, people can't believe that I used to be depressed and anxious. So there's just a lot of gratitude in that for Unity and what it's taught. The growing up and the cleaning up are hand in hand. As we grow up in greater knowledge, we're also brave enough, courageous enough to dig into those shadows and heal those scars and release those stories of victim and persecution of whatever kind we feel we've had in our lives. So that, and why would we do all that? So we can shine like the radiant essence that we are. So we can be like the beautiful 1-year-old who is full of his glory before he gets all the scars of childhood, teenage, whatever he's going to grab onto in his life, latch onto as his story. Right now, he's the most radiant essence we all love to watch our little ones huddle around because they're so explorative and so innocent and so radiant. That's exactly where we can be once again when we grow up and clean up. We can be that radiant essence. And it is a light to the world for all those who aren't feeling this enthusiasm. And they can catch on and they can say, how did you get there? And we can tell them some of the tools that we've learned, like the affirmations, like studying the 12 powers, like going to groups to study a book together. And so it is our privilege and our delight to be able to step into that understanding that we truly are the light of the world. We're hungry for it. The world is hungry for it. So don't hide your light under the bushel. And if your light isn't shining as brightly as you think mine is, then do the work. Do the growing. Do the reading. Do the cleaning up. Take care of that skeleton in the closet. Let it go and feel your freedom. There's so much freedom in letting it go. So Charles Fillmore said, why would we want to do this work? To reach a state of conscious joy. That's what he said. Unspeakable joy, glory, and eternal life are promised to those who with unselfish devotion strive to develop the Christ consciousness, the I am consciousness. So show up as the light of the world. Are you willing to start? Have you been? Are you willing to keep learning, growing, uncovering those secrets in your subconscious so that you can bring them to the light and free them? I'd like to invite you to say this with me. I am a radiating center of the oneness. I am a radiating center of the oneness. Think about what that means. Your very heart, your wisdom, love and wisdom, right in the core of your body. That is your radiating center. And what are you radiating? Oneness. We're all one. There's so much more. I know you can feel the implications of that when we talk about how we have disagreements with neighbors and we are polarized all over the place in our world right now. But if you can keep remembering, being centered, I am a radiating center of oneness. Say it again with me. I am a radiating center of oneness. Thank you. So it is.
Well, hi, I'm back. I have just the song to go with that message. Now, it has just been suggested to me by our music director that I mentioned that I have a new CD out. And the songs that you're hearing me play today are all on that CD, which is called Sacred Spaces. And that's enough of that. And for those of you who don't have a CD player, I am everywhere in the digital world. I'm on all 4 of my last albums are on Spotify, where you can listen to me for free. I'm on Apple Music and Amazon, wherever there's digital music, I'm there. My name is Eric, E-R-I-C, Bannon, B-A-N-N-A-N. This next song was written began on the 21st of January of last year. That's the day after the inauguration. Just think for a minute, it's been less than a year since we had a new president. Now, this song is based on a quote by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and that quote is, "If you can't fly, then you can run. If you can't run, then you can walk. If you can't walk, then you can crawl, but keep on moving forward." I wrote this song with a bluegrass, a master musician by the name of Joe Newberry. It's called "If You Can't Fly." Take a step in the right direction to the intersection where you turn. Are you the mirror or the reflection? That's the question. That's how we learn. If you can run, then you can walk. A little more listen, a little less talk. If you can't fly, you can run out of the darkness into the sun. We can love as a revolution and heal the confusion and the pain. Can't you see it's a real solution? There's no question, there's no shame. If you can't run, then you can walk. A little more listen, a little less talk. If you can't fly, you can run out of the darkness into the sun. When we learn to be forgiving, it's gonna make the living worth its while. Without taking, only giving, greet a stranger with a smile. If you can't run, then you can walk. A little more listen, a little less talk. If you can't fly, you can run out of the darkness into the sun. Sing that with me. Out of the darkness into the sun. One more time. Out of the darkness into the sun.
Thank you, Eric. You're fabulous. Love your songs. Yeah, wonderful. All right, so how many people have been inspired so far today or learned something new? Yeah, okay, good. Me too. This is what we aim to do, between the music and the meditation and the talk. This is what our goal is, to be here to inspire, to educate, to enlightened to help you grow in consciousness and raise your vibration to be in that place where life is good all the time, right? We have to do that. So we need your support in that endeavor, right? We can't just do this by ourselves. We're co-creating this experience together. So if you would keep that in mind while this is time for our offering, while you prepare your gifts, your tithes, your offering, many different ways that you can do it. It's in the program, there's a little sheet that shows you what our Venmo is, text to give, the link to our website where you can donate, many different ways, making it easy for you to do that, to be here, to co-create this experience together. All right, so, yeah. If I could have the greeters come forward. Am I forgetting something?
The blessing.
Oh,
Divine
yeah.
love.
Oh, that's right.
I
I haven't been in this role for a while. Okay, yeah, so take that, whatever it is that you have, or the thought, if you're giving, digitally, hold that in your hands, maybe put your hand to your heart as we say together our affirmation, which again is on that sheet, that buff sheet in the seat back in front of you. Breathing into that heart center, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. So it is.
I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm aware of all my blessings, so much love I can't sit still. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm aware of all my blessings, so much good I can't sit still. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm aware of all my blessings, so much peace I can't sit still. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you, guys. All right, so let's just take that energy of love and joy that is flowing through us, flowing through our hearts and out through our hands as we just bless these gifts, these tithes, these offerings, knowing that it is love in form. This is love in expression, given from love and from a consciousness of abundance, which continues to grow in this community and beyond, and blesses the giver with a consciousness and an experience of abundance. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. And so this is the time where I am welcoming anybody who might be visiting us for the first time today. If you are here for the first time, if you would just raise your hand, and the greeters will come by with a packet of information about us that has a little card on the outside, and if you fill out both sides of that card, there's a free gift for you in that. All right, and yes, Chris is pointing up here, and you too, if you've joined us for the first time today. We really appreciate you being here. We're so glad that you are with us and experiencing this joy together. It really is a co-creative experience. So if you would just put in the chat, hello, I'm here for the first time, and our wonderful online greeter will share information, whatever it is that you would like to know about us. All right, so that's it. One more time. Eric Bannon.
often get asked, where do songs come from? And sometimes they just show up. This one kind of got handed to me. It kind of dropped into my lap. I'm a Unitarian Universalist, and my home church is right down the road on Purefoy Avenue. And every year we have a preaching practicum when there's about half a dozen of the folks there will preach a sermon. And one Sunday morning there was this young lady who was an MD PhD candidate at UNC. And her nickname is the Death Princess because she works on the 4th floor of the oncology hospital at UNC. And there's a lot of, as a cancer survivor, I know that's a pretty grim place. So she had this amazing sermon, and the crux of it was how we die is really about how we live. And the opening reading for that, and if you're taking notes, it was called Let Me Die Laughing. And if you just Google "Let Me Die Laughing," UU reading, you'll find it. But I forget who it's by. But you know, I heard that reading and I wept. And I went home and I wrote this. Oh, wrong key. Sometimes the wrong key is the right key. But I'm just trying to get in the neighborhood here because my voice has certain expectations. There we go. I thank you so much for having me as a guest in your house of worship. It's been great. Hopefully, I'll see you again. I've been down, crawled under my bed to hide. Been so high, cracked my head open on the sky. Cards that I've been dealt made me tough, but I want to hold a handful of jokers when God calls my bluff. So let me die laughing, let me die happy, knowing life was good and I did what I could. Let me die laughing. I don't know what happens when you die, but I do know one day it'll be my time. I've cried, fought, loved without regret. It's this fear of an empty life, much deeper than my fear of death. Let me die laughing, let me die happy, knowing life was good and I did what I could. Let me die laughing. Yesterday was sunny, this morning life was funny. I've learned to love this life I got. So let me die laughing, let me die happy, knowing
it with the mask and the earrings and the thing that all the adjustments we have to do for now. For now, right? Oh, and just before we start the announcements, an update for those of you who are following. We sent an announcement out in the e-news, so you definitely want to sign up for the e-news and make sure you get this, that we did have a case of COVID last Sunday. That person has totally recovered. They contacted every single person that they were in touch with. Nobody else was affected. So it's the best possible outcome. We are blessed. We are blessed. And I also want you to know that all of us who are standing here on the platform and take off our masks, we test. I've asked everybody to test before they come and take off their mask, so you can be safe there. And just for the next little bit of this craziness, we're asking you to socially distance for now. Let's do the elbow thing for now, and just stay safe till we get through this, which we're all affirming is on its way out, right? Yeah, amen to that. All right, so, okay, the We Got Your Back team. This is one of our ministries here at Unity Center of Peace, a really beautiful ministry. This is the team that helps take care of you, that we take care of each other, and we help out people who need it. And, well, right now we have a couple that come to our services just about every Sunday, Alt and Jean in the back, and they would like to have a ride to and from. And that's, being of service is such a wonderful spiritual practice, I have to say. It's a spiritual practice, and it's a beautiful one. So that's a beautiful way to serve. So if you can do that, at least once in a while, there's a sheet in the back, on that table in the back, where you can sign up, or just go ahead and talk to Alt and Jean about that. All right. I want to talk about our CSA, the community-supported agriculture that Farmer Doug meets out here in the parking lot after Sunday service. That's one of the best things I have done in the past couple of years is sign up for this thing. I mean, every Sunday I get fresh organic produce. And it's different. How some CSAs, they just give you what they have. You don't have a choice about it. This, you have a choice about what you want. And, if you're here on Sunday and then you just go pick it up, it's just been such a wonderful thing for us. And so I highly recommend it. They are looking for people who want to subscribe, some more subscriptions to that, so we can support them, and you're supported in your health. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is this beautiful book, The 5 Principles by Ellen Davenport. This is going to be the focus of our talk series beginning, the 23rd, and we're doing a book study on this. And so we'd like to have, it's going to be 5 weeks, one principle a week, and we're looking for people who, if part of your, soul's intention for this year is to begin to spread your wings and grow, then maybe you'd like to grow into facilitating one of these groups. And so we're looking for about 2 people now to step up and say, yeah, I'd like to lead a group. We're going to do it via Zoom for now. Maybe by next month we'll be fine, and one of those can meet in person. I don't know. But for now it's Zoom. And a variety of times and dates so that everybody can participate in this. But we're going to grow into this and fully embody all of these 5 principles in the next 5 weeks. All right, Hero's Journey. This is Karen Novi. Most of you know Karen Novi, the beautiful keyboardist and singer who comes. She's been coming a lot, and she's got a wonderful story. A challenge, that she had to overcome, and she did. So she's sharing her story through words and song, and how she came to the other side and really began to embody I'll bet she did a lot of the work that you're talking about, cleaning up and growing up. so that she could shine her light. So if you want to join that, it's a one-woman show, January 29th in the evening, right here in the sanctuary. You'll go online, you'll find out more about that, and you can also sign up for that, register for that event. For a list of all of our events, this and many more, go to our website, unitychapelhill.org, and go on the events section, and you can see what's coming up and participate in what calls you. Social media is a great way to stay connected with us and stay up to date and also stay inspired, because Debbie has been really wonderful at creating these beautiful affirmations and inspirational things. Have you guys been seeing it on Facebook? It's really a great just sort of checking in and staying connected and staying reminded of our spiritual nature. So Facebook, Instagram, if you're on Instagram, that's another great place. All of our talks are recorded, and you'll find them on YouTube, so you can always go back and look for a talk and watch that and experience it. All right, so last but not least is our 3-minute miracle. This is your gift, really, in this community, is to sit with someone who is trained in prayer. And today we have the wonderful and talented Joanne Dayhill, and she is our prayer partner today. Are you going to be back in the chapel? Okay. So maybe you'll come into the foyer to see who might be waiting for that, because we want to, keep that social distance thing going on. But yeah, if there's anything that's been stirred up today, or you want somebody who has her in that higher consciousness and can really help to lift you into that higher space, that's our gift to you, the 3-minute miracle. All right, and also if you're seeing us online, you have an opportunity for that prayer partner to pray with you too. So all you need to do is send an email to prayer@UnityChapelHill. It's probably coming up right now for you. And you just send your name and your phone, and they will call you back and pray with you too. All right, that's it. And so if you would stand with me, and if you can, and we're going to say our prayer of protection with I am statements, and then sing our peace song. All right. Take a nice deep breath. Feel that connection with one another. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let me be with my family, perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment.
Thank you, Chris and Andres. All right. And so it is. Oh, when are we setting up on the back, Tana? Are we?
I didn't move everything